So we've created an array of strings and used it in a very straightforward way. We just defined it with all of its existing values, and then we accessed it using an index. And so this is a really standard way to use an array. There are also lots of methods that you can use with arrays. So JavaScript comes with several, and you might find some of these useful. So there's this toString method, and this one actually produces a comma-separated series of values. So here, if it just converts it to strings, takes this array, it writes out each individual element in the array separated by commas. Now, we saw this happen earlier without the toString, and this is actually the automatic toString method that all you do is simply use it in a string way. Here we're saying, please display it as the inner HTML, and it will automatically produce this comma-separated series of values. Another method you can use is join, and it works like toString, except you get to specify what goes between it, right? If you don't specify, you get the comma space. Here with join, you can say what you want. And this example is using a space, asterisk space, and that's how it'll display each individual element, but they will be separated with that space, asterisk space. You can pop and push from an array, and this makes it work like a stack. When you're popping, what it's doing is removing an element from the end of the array. So here's an example where it removes it, and what it does when it removes it, it removes it from the array and it returns that value. And here they've stored that value in the X. So if we try this out, what we have to start with is we have that original array, banana, orange, apple, mango, and then they pop. And so what it does, it takes off that mango and returns it. And here where you see it was returned. And then it shows the array after. And after that's been popped, mango is no longer an element in the array. So it actually removes it. That's what pop does. It removes an element from the end. What pushing does is it adds an element to the end and returns the value of the length, the new length, right? Because it gets bigger. So here we have the original one. When we click this button, it pushes kiwi on the end. So now the array has an additional element and it returns that value that is the length of the new array. Shifting, or the new length of the same array. Shifting elements is what you can do if you want to do that same thing, like push and pop, remove or add things from the end of the array. So if you want to add or remove them from the beginning of the array, you can use shifting, right? Shift and unshift. So what shift does is it removes the first element in the array and then shifts everything over. So it also returns the value of what it removed. So here we have an array that has banana, orange, apple, mango. And then when shift is called, it removes banana and returns it. So here we see the return value, and then we see the resulting array now only has three, orange, apple, and mango. So it has changed. That first element has been removed. Unshift allows you to add an element at the beginning. And like with push, it returns the new length of that array. So here we have an array, banana, orange, apple, mango, and then the command to unshift is used, and unshift lemon. What does it do? It inserts lemon at the beginning of the array and returns the new length of the array, which is 5. You can change the value of an individual element, and you do this by using the array name and an index. Here they've changed kiwi. They've changed 0 to kiwi, right? So here we have the original one is banana. Then they change fruit 0 to kiwi, and the new version, instead of bananas, it has kiwi. And you can make this change to any location. So let's say we do it to element 2, and it changes apple to kiwi. So that's how you change values, an individual value in an array. And here it shows you the example that you can use length to add an element at the end. So here we know that the indices of this array are 0, 1, 2, and 3. But if we ask for the length, it's 4. And 4 is really also the index of what the next element would be. And that's what's happening. It's saying, oh, here, use fruits, set fruits 4 equal to kiwi. And so what this actually does is it creates a new element and sets the value to kiwi. You can also delete elements. This is kind of interesting though. When you delete it, here we're saying delete this element, it actually produces, it replaces that value with undefined. So this is kind of interesting. What I want to show you is here it shows you that the first element is banana. Then after you delete that first element, the first element is undefined. What I want to show you is what that array looks like after you delete it. We already know that what it's going to look like before. It's going to be banana, comma, orange, comma, apple, comma, mango. But what about if after we delete it, what does it look like? So here I'm going to go ahead and let's print this out into demo 3 paragraph. Let's just print out the entire array and see what it looks like. Okay, we run that. And what do we get? Notice there's an element there. Undefined is not printable. So nothing prints, but the comma is there to indicate there's an element there. This is even more clearly visible if we say, oh, let's delete element. Instead of 0, let's delete element 2 and run it. Now oops, something went wrong. Oh, I see, I inadvertently removed this. There was a Z index there. That caused a JavaScript error. And notice how when you create an error, everything stops. And you'll find that very frustrating when you're working with JavaScript, that all of a sudden everything stops. So let's run it now and see if we can see that. So what happened here is we deleted fruits index 2, and it became undefined. So that would be apple, right? So we have an element banana, an element orange, then an element undefined. So it's still a third element there, and then an element mango. So using delete is a bit of a problem, right? It leaves holes in the array. It leaves an undefined element in the middle of the array or beginning of the array or somewhere in the array. So delete's a bit problematic.